All right, in this video, we're gonna cover the essentials for paddleboard fishing. This is actually one of my favorite type of fishing. You can really sneak up on everything really well. It's just like a kayak, but with the paddleboard, you're actually standing up higher, so you can see just a whole lot better. So as you're paddling to a new location, you can actually see fish and just find a lot of new spots more easily. But as far as the essentials, first of all, you don't have to have one of those fancy fishing paddleboards. This is just an old surfing one. I bought it used, a little old demo. It's a little over 10 feet long. It's 10 foot 3 inches, and it's about 28.5 inches wide. The more narrow the board, the further you'll be able to paddle. And this little the front end, like the surf style front end, that's worse for paddling long distances because you feel every wave. If you're going to be going long distance, get one with the V hole. But anyhow, the long story, the most important thing is just you know that you don't have to have one of the fancy ones. This will do just fine. So as far as the essential equipment, we're just going to cover the basics here, and of course a paddle. But I recommend having 2 ropes. This one short rope needs to have a loop in it, and just a little small loop. And I'll show you why here in a second. This is going to be one that we put around our waist to really control our paddle as we're fishing. The other one is a longer rope. It needs to be at least half the length of the board, preferably longer. And what we're going to use that for is to tie ourselves to the paddleboard, because I recommend mostly wading. I catch by far the most fish, just paddling along until I find some good area, and then I'll actually hop out, put my wading shoes on, and then actually tie the board to myself and just wade down the flat. This way you can have all of your gear with you, and as soon as you're done fishing, you can just hop back on the board and just continue on. And that's a better option than anchor down the kayak or boat and then having to wade out and then wade back in. So, all right, and last but certainly not least is to get a good cooler. This is a little small one that I got, and I absolutely love it. I just got it recently, but it's made by Engel, and the cool thing is that it has these rod holders. So you can just easily have your rod just sitting right back behind you. I keep it real close to my backside. That way, as soon as I'm ready to fish, I can just reach back, pull it out, and I have my rod ready to go. So highly recommend a cooler, preferably one with rod holders. If you don't have rod holders, though, I will show you a way to actually wedge the rod into the rope, into your waist rope. That's what I've done previously, and again, it's worked just fine, but the cooler is just more convenient. All right, so this first tip, this is what I would say I see most people not doing that would really help them out as far as fishing on top of the board. So if you are gonna be fishing on the board, if it's too deep to wade, highly recommend just getting a rope and getting a loop, just getting some sort of rope that has a loop at the end of it, and getting that right here on your waist. And the reason for that is that it allows you just to control the actual paddle. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put this board in the water real quick and just show you how much easier it is to fish with this rope and then to actually have to lay the paddle all the way on the ground. All right, so this is probably the most important thing that I see that a majority of people don't do when paddleboard fishing is if you are gonna fish while standing up is always have a rope on your waist with a loop at the end of it. And I'll show you why it's so important, because as soon as you're ready to start fishing, I'll try to angle this board so you can see, but as soon as I am ready to start fishing, all I have to do is, assume I have this rope, I don't have to bend all the way down to set the paddle down. I literally just stand up straight normally and just put the end of the paddle through the loop and just set the other end on the front of the board. And my paddle is now secure, and more importantly, it's here accessible if I need it. For instance, if I'm out fishing, I'll just pull the rod up to start fishing. If I'm out fishing, if I cast out and I actually hook a big fish that's pulling me into the mangroves, I have to have a way to stop myself, otherwise it's gonna pull me straight in. So if I have this paddle right here while I'm fishing, I can just hold on with one hand and just use the paddle with the other and just start cranking myself away. That way, again, you can just control yourself, whereas otherwise the snook would just take you, or redfish will take you wherever they wanna go. The other important thing, if you don't have a little cooler with a rod holder, is that you can use the rope also as a rod holder, where you just literally put the back end through the rope, and as long as it's tight, it'll just stay there next to you. So you can just have the rod just sticking out. It kind of looks weird sticking out, but again, it works. I've done this for years. So I can just be paddling along the shoreline. As soon as I see a good spot, I'll just put the paddle through the loop, pull the rod out, and I'm ready to go. So again, just a very, obviously you can use any rope for this, and it's just very efficient and effective. All right, so this is just a quick video on just how to tie yourself off to your paddleboard when you're wade fishing. This is what I recommend for catching the most fish, because you can really just cover an area really well, and when you do catch a fish, you don't get pulled to the rest of them. But anyhow, always get this rope that's at least half the length of the board, if not further, and tie it off to the back end. Usually there's usually a notch for it, but the reason why I say it needs to be at least over half the length of the board is that I want to tie it off so that I don't have to retie and untie every time I get back on the board. I want to be able to have it where I have slack in the line so that I can just hop back on the board at any time. So what I do is I just usually just get a long rope and just literally just tie it off to myself so that I'm probably I could be all the way up to the very front if I needed to. So I'll get it right there, tie it off, just simple knot, of course. And now I'm ready to fish. So that way when I am actually fishing, this board can be out of my way. I can just weigh down the entire flat and don't have to worry about it. It's always there. And when I do need to, say, get another lure on or change lures or whatever the case is, or if I need my pliers for catching the fish, I just pull it back to me and it's all right here. And so I can weigh the entire flat, and then as soon as I'm ready to pick up and move somewhere else, the board's just right here and ready to go. So. All right, we hope you enjoy that clip. Again, make sure that when you are using this, always tie off enough ropes that you can get back on and off efficiently and effectively. And I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video.